Hello, 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 everyone. I'm a little bit early. I decided to jump on a little bit early tonight for those of you who are out there. Hello, Edward Smart. How are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. You're my first chatter. My first chatter. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, I know I get started. I usually get started around 8:30. I wanted to ask you, are you a pilot? Are you a pilot? Because all your aerial stuff is like amazing. Hi, Justin Mello. How are you? Welcome in. Thank you for being here. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. I just wanted to come on. Oh, you're a student pilot. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was one of those once many years ago. I actually was working to get my private pilot's license. I had like over 100 hours, and I did solo in a little Cessna 172. But I wanted to, flying was just like always a dream in my head, and I used to think that it was something that I was supposed to do. But it was really something I wish I had started when I was way younger. I mean, and when I was flying, I was in my 20s. And that's kind of a little known fact that few people know about me, actually. So, but I used to love it. It was so awesome. It was so awesome to be able to fly, and, it was just amazing. So good luck to you. I hope that you are able to continue with that, and that you do well with that, and that you go all the way to whatever goal you're trying to achieve. But God had other things for me, so I had to move on to other stuff. Hello, Justin Mello and Paul, cousin Paul. How are you? Oh, your father is a pilot. Your father's a pilot. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no one was a pilot in my family, but you're doing mellow-tastic today. Mellow-tastic. I like that. You have a mellow personality. Yeah. So Edward, that's awesome. Flying is it's a dream. If you ever get to do it, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. It's so much fun. And I'm a very adventurous person. So flying was right up my alley. I was not afraid at all. I just didn't have the time or the funds, really, if we want to be honest, to pour into it, because it gets very expensive to rent a plane. So yeah, but that's awesome if you're doing that. So how many hours do you have under your belt? Have you flown quite a bit, or have you just getting started? Hi, Nevin. Hey, nephew, how are you? Welcome in, welcome in. It is yes, it is very expensive. Hey, V loves TNN. Welcome in. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. You're good, Nevin? Fantastic, fantastic. I'll just give it a couple minutes. It's 8:31, so I'm going to wait for about one more minute, and then we're going to get started on our discussions on money tonight. Money, money, money. Whew. I know this is a subject of a sore subject for a lot of people when it comes to relationships. Oh, you're just getting started in ground school. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. That's so awesome. Good luck to you. I hope you go all the way with that. And I'm going to keep watching. I definitely am going to keep watching. I want to see your journey. So that's going to be amazing to watch, fun to watch. All right, it is 8:32 on my clock. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, we are going to be talking about money tonight. And I know that money is a big problem in so many relationships. So what I'm going to do, money is probably going to be a regular series on my channel, because Tonight, I'm just going to be talking about it from two perspectives, from the lender's perspectives, and then also next week we're going to talk about it for the borrowers. So tonight I'm going to focus on the lenders. So if you have been in a situation where you have lent money and the person didn't pay it back and it made you bitter, and maybe they did it repeatedly over and over again, and you just got to a place where you just don't do it anymore. And not only do you not do it, but maybe you all don't talk anymore. And that is a problem. And what I learned is that money does not have to be a barrier to in our relationships, because there are healthy ways that we can go about lending money. And so we're going to talk about some of those things tonight. So we talked about it in our tip on Tuesday, and then I also did a short lesson on it on Thursday for the lenders. All right, so the first thing that we talked about was when it comes to money is obligation. So obligation is usually the first reason we end up lending out money. And it's one of the first reasons, and it's also one of the poorest reasons that we lend money out to people. And we have to get away from the mindset of feeling obligated to lending out money. And there are several reasons why we feel obligated to lend out money. And, several of them can be the first one is usually a family obligation. If it's whether it's a close family member or a family member of your spouse, someone that you're going to see all the time, we can very easily begin to feel obligated because they raised us, because they're in our family, because they live next to us, whatever it is. We can feel obligated to lend money out. And then another reason a lot of times we feel obligated is because maybe this person has helped us before. And if they've helped us before, then a lot of times we feel obligated to help them back when they get in a pinch, which is totally reasonable. Sometimes it just depends on how much it is or how frequent this money lending issue has become. And people can go out of their way to make us feel guilty. Lending money to family members is troublesome. Yes, that's a great that's a great thought, to have in your mind. Sometimes it can be troublesome, but it does not have to be. We don't have to be, and that's what I hope that we learn tonight, that we can get in a mind state where we can lend money out without feeling fearful, without feeling guilty, without feeling obligated, and without getting angry behind it and falling out over it. Hey, it's All Hot Air. Hello, RS Group of Learning. Welcome in. I'm glad you're back. And forgive me if I'm going to be clearing my throat. I'm having some sinus drainage going on tonight. So I've taken medicine and everything, but I'm hoping my voice doesn't give out. And I'm trying not to clear my throat, and I have some water on hand. So hopefully I'll be able to get through this. So we talked about people who've helped us before. And then a lot of times when we have people who make us feel guilty about lending money, because either they see that we have it or they think that we have it, or because they are family or because they are a good friend, they feel like, hey, you should lend me this money. Like, what do you mean you're not going to lend me this money? And sometimes, to be honest, we're just not in a position to lend the money. And when we're not in a position to lend the money and we do, that automatically puts us at risk, and it automatically puts us in a mind state of feeling bitter about it, feeling a bit bitter about it. It's like, man, I gave that money away and I really know that I shouldn't have, because maybe I needed it, or maybe I didn't want to, or maybe you feel like it's going to be a continuous problem in the relationship. And then another time that we struggle with money is that we just have a difficult time in saying no. Are there any of you that just have a hard time in saying no when people ask? If so, just put it in the chat. Hey, Eldrick. I've come a long way in this matter. I have come a long way in this matter. That is for sure. That's someone who knows me very well. So yes, I've come a long way in lending money. And I was in that position where I used to get very bitter, very angry until I learned how to set up some boundaries and some parameters around money for me when it came to lending money. So, and ever since I've done that, it has just been really a blessing for me, and keeps me in a mind state of not, being angry. But I had to learn how to do that. I had to get there. I had to get there, and I had to figure out what I needed to do to get myself in a place where I could lend out money when I felt like I knew that I could lend it out, and not be angry about it, or not let it come between my relationships, either with family or with friends or anyone who borrowed money from me. Someone in the chat, Mike Paul here says, I have no problem saying no. And a lot of people don't, they don't have a problem saying no. And a lot of times I don't either. Sometimes it depends on who the person is. It depends on the situation. It depends on the frequency. Sometimes it just depends, or it depends on whether or not I even have it, because if I don't have it, I can't lend it. And that's easy. That's an easy no. If I don't have it, I don't lend it. And I'm certainly most definitely not going to go borrow it just to lend it to somebody else. That's something I'm definitely not going to do. Hello, Positive Pusher. Welcome in. So glad you're here. So we have 8 people in the chat and 9 thumbs up so far. So thank you everyone who hit that thumbs up button when you came in. So I'm so excited to see everyone here. So, and again, forgive me, I'm just dealing with this sinus drainage. Hello, Elastic Views. How are you? Welcome in. I'm happy to see my growth on YouTube. Thank you. Yes, I am at almost 500 subs. Isn't that exciting? I'm amazing. Hey, this is God's channel. I'm just the overseer of it. He put me to work on this channel. So, whatever growth it gets is whatever growth it gets. I just want to make sure that I'm doing my part and giving you all content that's going to be relevant and useful for you all. If you're struggling with something when it comes to communication, that's what I'm here for. So for those of you who are new and coming into my live stream for the first time, that's what I'm here for, is to talk about communication and to just be another source of light for you all, because I know many of you are never going to step foot in a church. Many of you are never going to, go see a counselor or go talk to a coach, or maybe even if you would, maybe you just don't have the money. And I've sat through years of counseling, I can promise you that. and I've spent my entire life in church. And I feel like I'm just a resource of information. And so I just want to give that to y'all for free. I just want to be here to give that to you all for free, because I wish that I had all these resources or someplace that I could go and get immediate information when I was going through my struggles with my relationships and with communication. So that's my goal here on this channel. So if that's for you, hit that subscribe button, share me out, let everybody know, hey, if somebody's struggling in their relationship with communication, let people know, hey, I know this girl on YouTube who has this communication channel. Look at her stuff and, see if anything resonates with you. So I appreciate that. All right. So one of the first things that we talked about that was good for me. Well, first of all, let me know in the chat, what makes you all feel obligated? If you are a person that feels some level of obligation when it comes to giving money, tell me tell me some of the things that make you all feel obligated to lend money. If that's something that you're struggling with as a lender. Oh, hi, Lori. How are you? Thank you, Lori. Welcome in. Are any of you all struggling? Can you all put something out there and just let me know what is it in your mind that you struggle with when it comes to lending money, when it comes to obligation? Do any of you ever feel some level of obligation to lend money when people ask? Because, I know some of you don't. Some of you, don't have any problem saying no, but some people do. Some people do feel obligated, and there have been times where I have felt obligated. Hello, cousin. How are you? Welcome in. I'm glad to see. Thank you. I'm glad you made it. Anyone feeling, anyone have any issues or struggles with feeling obligated? Is it the fact that maybe it is a family member? Is it the fact that, maybe the person who's asking you, you are their only resource? Is it, hello, sweet ambiance. How are you? Sweet ambiance meditation. Welcome in. Welcome in. So excited to have you here. So we are talking about the first reason that we lend money typically is out of obligation. So if any of you uh, feel obligated to lend money, let me know. What are some of the reasons why you feel obligated? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward. Let's see. I'm going to read a couple of the chat messages here. Okay. So yes, she says, I am generally a generous person. So I always feel the need to assist when people ask me. It does get overwhelming though. Yeah, especially if you sort of become that go-to person where people feel like they can always go to you to get money. And we're going to talk a little bit about that when it comes to privacy too, when it comes to lending money. Oh, thank you, V Loves TNN, for putting the question in the chat for me. The positive pusher says, I don't feel obligated. I only give when led, and I don't expect it back. If I need it back, I don't give it out. Yeah, that's exactly the mind state that I keep when I put money out. Oh, thank you, Ours Group of Learning. I'm not trying to be impressive. I just talk the way I've been raised. I did grow up in a family of educators, so maybe that makes a difference. They didn't let me get away with, talking slang or talking just, incorrectly. Everything I had to say, my verbs, my pronoun, everything had to be what it was, because I would be corrected all the time growing up in a family of teachers. So, but thank you for the compliment. All right. So, yeah, we talked about boundaries. And that was one of the first things that I had to do when it came to lending money, was get some boundaries set up around me, because I didn't want to feel like I couldn't lend out money. All right. Let me read one more here. Okay, sometimes I'm fighting with myself on whether to help out this time or not. And sometimes it gets stressful, especially when I feel maybe some people are taking advantage of one's generosity. Yeah, that's a great one. When you feel like you're being taken advantage of, then yeah, this is why it's important to set up some boundaries. Okay, well, thank you for popping in, Ours Group of Learn. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in. And catch the replay if you want to. So yes, when you feel like people are taking advantage of you, this is why it's important to, like I say, set up those boundaries around yourself so that you don't have to feel like you're being taken advantage of. And some of the things that we do, some of the things that I have learned to do over the years is not mixing like business money matters with personal money matters. I've had some things that I've in a business perspective and things that I do from a personal perspective, and I try to make sure that I don't mix those two up. And if for some reason it is a situation with a friend or a family member, someone that I know really well, I treat that money situation just like I would if it was a business situation. So if I need to set up a contract, if I need to do a lease agreement, if we need to have some level of paperwork involved, or agreements, a level of understanding that we need to have, then I make sure that's done. And there's a clear understanding of that before I enter into a financial situation with this person that I am actually, maybe close to. Okay. All right. And another thing that I do is sometimes Sometimes there are issues, situations where maybe you feel comfortable in lending to certain family members, but maybe you don't want to lend to other family members because maybe it's a situation like what Elastic Views just said, where you feel like this person is now getting to a place where they're taking advantage of you. We don't know always why people borrow money. And we can't always assume that they're telling the truth, because sometimes they're not. Sometimes they just, people borrow money for a million different reasons. So what I want us to get in our minds is that we don't want to be stressed out or worry about why it is they're asking for the money. But we want to make sure that we're in a mind state that if we decide to give the money, that we give the amount that we know that we can afford to give, and an amount that will not make us bitter if we don't get it back. So that's rule number one for me when it comes to setting up boundaries. If I need it back, then I don't give it. So if you have money that you are expecting to receive back because you know that it's really money that's been allocated for other things, don't give it out. Don't give out the money that you know you're going to need. Hi, Triple C and Joe. How are you, Miss Lady? How are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm glad to see you. I remember. Thank you, Elastic Views. She says, I remember when I got to 100 subs at the same time. You're so good at this. I made a video not long ago as well about learning to set limits. Yes, and that's exactly what it's about. Learning to set limits and setting boundaries. So yeah, that's rule number one for me. If I don't have it, I don't give it. And if I need it back, then I don't give it. So I always only give an amount of money that if I don't receive it back, it will not make me bitter. Now, like I talked about in the video, I don't know anybody personally who has a lending fund in their budget. And in fact, a lot of people I know probably don't even have budgets, right? We're all trying to, make it through, paycheck to paycheck, or maybe we do have some things that we're putting away. But again, every dime I have is typically allocated for something. But maybe you do have a money in an account that you can allow yourself to get down to without feeling like your personal finances would be impacted. One of the biggest reasons we get into a problem is because we give money beyond what we know we can give, and then we don't get it back. And then when we don't get it back, we get angry because now our finances have been put into we've been put into a financial strain within our own finances. So if you, and that's the rule number one of why we get angry, because we needed it. It was allocated for something. Now that person may not know that. That person may not know that and they don't necessarily even need to know it. They don't need to know what we had our money for. But that's why I want you all to get in a mindset that, okay, maybe I have $500 in my account, or let's say $600. I'll just make the numbers easy. Let's say you have $600 in an account somewhere that you could let somebody borrow from, and maybe you're comfortable with having 500 or 400, getting it down to 500 or 400, and know that you can still do what you had planned. But if you go ahead and give the whole 600, if somebody comes to you and says, well, I need $400, and you have 600, you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to give that much. Then don't give it. Give that 100. You tell them, I can't afford to give you $400, but I can afford to give you this $100, and let that be. And if they get mad or upset or fuss and feel like, hey, I know you got it. Yeah, I have it, but I have, or maybe you don't even have to tell them that you have it. Like maybe it's none of their business what you have or don't have. You just want to make sure what I have is what I need. And what you're asking me for, this is what I can afford to give of that. So you'll have to go to another resource, or you'll have to go to another place to try to find the rest of what you need. So, and that's another thing that gets us in trouble, is that we give beyond what we're comfortable with. So if you give beyond what you're comfortable with, stop giving beyond what you're comfortable with, you will, stop feeling bad about being in a situation. So here's my other big, huge boundary. If I lend money and we set up arrangements and, you tell me you're going to pay it back and this and that, and you don't pay it back, I feel zero obligation in lending money to you again. So that is a clear boundary for me. Unless I feel led, or unless, God is telling me, go ahead and lend the money this time or whatever, then I'll go ahead and do it. But for the most part, if we set up a situation and you tell me that you're going to pay me back and you don't, then I feel zero obligation in ever lending money again. And I'll tell you why. And I'll also tell you why. So we're going to go also into parameters. So when I lend money, I try to make sure that I have parameters set up with the money, right? So I'm going to express my expectations. I'm going to lend you this money because you asked me for it. This is how much I'll be able to give you of what you ask, whether it's a part of it or all of it. We'll go ahead and do this. And you're telling me that you're borrowing this money, so you're going to pay me back. So tell me, what is a good way for you to pay me back? What is going to be your plan? What is going to be your way of paying me back? And this is key. This is key. This is what I found is key. If you let the person set the parameters, set the time frame, whether they're going to pay you back, at the end of the week, whether they're going to pay you back at the end of the month, it's going to be a month-to-month thing, or maybe they're going to pay you back when they get their tax at the end of the year with their tax return. Whatever it is, let them set the payback terms, because they know what they can do. And because we're only lending an amount that we're okay with not getting back, let them set the payback terms. So if whatever they tell you is whatever it will be, and you be okay with that. And if they don't do it, if they don't follow through with what they say they're going to do, you don't have to worry about it, because you didn't lose any more than you were okay with losing. And now you no longer have to feel obligated to give any other time when they ask. Okay. And that has been critical for me. That has freed me from so much stress and drama, because I let you set it up. You can't be mad at me, because you're the ones who told me what you were able to do, and then you weren't able to do that. So, now if they come to me and say, hey, this happened, I know I set this up, but I lost my job, or, this or that, and can we change the arrangement or the terms, then that's something I might be open to. But for the most part, let them set up the payback arrangements and go with whatever they're comfortable with. Okay, so that's something that has been critical in keeping peace for me. Watch from the beginning. Hi, Lady J. How are you? Welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. All right. And again, we talked about the lending amount and then the payback arrangements. So tell me where you all think that you can set up some parameters in your money lending habits, if you want to say that. Where can you all set up some parameters with your money so that you can feel better about lending money when people ask? Okay. Where can you set up some parameters for yourself? Tell me in the chat, where can you set up some parameters for yourself, okay, around your money lending habits? And I'll peek in the chat every now and then as I continue to talk. Hold on one second, my throat is getting a little dry. All right, can any of you all think of a time, something that you can do right now that will help you set up some parameters when it comes to money lending? Are you going to be better about expressing your expectations? Because that's another thing that gets in the way. We don't tell people what we expect from them. And so when we don't let people know what we expect, then they make assumptions. And so they make assumptions, and then we make assumptions. And now, like I said, those assumptions don't always line up. You may assume that they're going to pay you back when they said they were, and they may assume that if they don't, you'll be okay with it. And well, that's something that needs to be talked about. Yes, communication. The positive pusher says communication is definitely key. Communicating if you are not able to keep the terms of the borrowing agreement is vital. Don't just avoid the person. Oh, that's so critical. That is so key right there. And that's typically what happens, right? People will they'll borrow money from you, and then, when it comes to the day that they say they're going to pay you back, they are nowhere to be found. You calling them, they don't pick up the phone. You go by their house, they're not home. Whatever the situation is, they're avoiding you. You go to a function or event that they would typically be at, and they're not there because now they are obviously avoiding you. And for some people, that goes on infinitely. They will just avoid you forever and not pay you back and just be okay with never speaking to you again, when it doesn't have to be that way. If you just talk about what you're able to do and do what you say you're going to do. Again, this goes into, having integrity in our words. A lot of times we need to get out of just saying stuff to hush people up or saying stuff to get people off of our back. So really, you need to talk about what it is you're able to do, because people will respect you so much more. And we're going to talk to the borrowers next week. Okay. But tonight I'm going to focus on the lenders. But I do want to say that your word is everything. Your word is everything. So when you follow through with your words, then people will trust you. They'll trust that, okay, well, I know they told me, they came to me, they knew it was due and they didn't do it, but they came to me and said something. And so I'm okay. People will be more willing to work with you, and they'll be more forgiving. Lenders will be more forgiving if you come to them and talk about it, rather than just doing the whole avoiding thing. Okay. The avoiding thing puts barriers up, puts walls up, and it breaks up relationships. And it just doesn't have to be if you just open your mouth. So people are way more open to working with you if you come to them. And that's even with banks, even with bills. If you borrowed money, or that goes all the way around. If you go to the credit card company, if you go to the bank and you say, hey, I'm not able to do this, can y'all work this out for me? They'll also be willing to work with you because you came to them, and they didn't have to hunt you down to try to find the money. All right. Thank you, Triple C. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yes, when it comes to the parameters, let them set up the payback arrangements, and let them know up front, if you don't pay me back, I just want you to know that if you come to me again asking for money, I will be less likely to lend that out to you, or I may never lend money out to you again. So let people know what the expectations are. If you break this agreement, then hey, don't come to me asking for more money, because that's not going to happen. Because I'm lending you the money. I'm giving you what you asked. You telling me what you're able to do. And if that doesn't happen, then that lets me know that your words can't be trusted. And, now here's the other thing, and I'm going to talk about this next week. If you're going to lend money, sometimes people, and this is something that I also do as a lender, and I've been in both positions, so let's not get it twisted that I've only ever lent money, because I've definitely been in the borrowing position as well. But this is something that I do that's also critical. I will say, people say, hey, can I borrow this much money from you, or can I borrow that from you? I'll say, okay, now, are you asking me to borrow money? Because borrowing to me means that you're going to pay it back. Or are you asking me for a financial gift? So I get that clear up front, because sometimes people say, can I borrow money from you? But they really mean it that they want a gift because they don't have any intentions of paying it back from the jump. And they know that. So I let people know, if you're borrowing from me, that means you have the intention of paying it back. So, and if you're not borrowing from me, then you're asking me for a financial gift, and I need to be clear about what it is you're asking, so that way I can determine how much I'm willing to give, or whether or not I'm even willing to give. Okay. So that's something too that I set clear up front. Like, what are you really asking me? Don't just say this. Okay. So that's another way of getting it clear. Yes. So that's a parameter that I definitely get straight up front. Okay. And then the fourth thing that I make sure that I do is privacy. Okay. When people borrow money from you, and one of the main reasons, I think, someone was it, Elastic Views. I think you said that you feel like you're being taken advantage of. A lot of times when you are a lender and people discover, especially if it's a family situation where feels like, everyone in the family or all your friends are coming to you, or whatever the situation is, are coming to you and asking you for money because now they know that you are a resource. Okay. Or maybe they know you just came into some money, right? Maybe some family situation happened, or you won the lotto or whatever it is, and you just came into a bunch of money. And so people say, hey, go over here to such and such if you need some money, and they'll help you. Well, keep money matters private. When someone borrows money from you, don't go around telling everybody, oh yeah, don't lend them money, because I lent them money, last week or 2 weeks ago, and they never paid me back. That's when we get into a situation where I talked about in Matthew 6, chapter 6, 1-4, practicing your righteousness to be seen, okay, or putting people to shame. So we don't want to put people in a position where they feel bad about having to borrow money, okay? Now, maybe we do, maybe this person has borrowed money from us, and now they're going from family member to family member to family member. And maybe a family member is saying, should I lend the money, or, what should I do? You don't have to tell them that you lent money to that person before. Give them the same advice that I'm giving you. If you have it, if you feel led to give, go ahead and give the money. If you need it back, don't give it out. Let it be their decision. Don't let them maybe not receive what they need just because you fell out, with the person. Give them the opportunity to do what they need, and let them know, hey, if you need it, then don't give it, or if you have other things that you want to do with that money, then don't give it. Or if you don't feel led or you don't feel comfortable, then don't give it. But don't let it be, oh yeah, they went through me, they went through this person, they went through that person, that you don't need to do that. It's not necessary. We can give people advice about lending money without shaming the person. And that's not to say that maybe they don't need to be made aware of their lending habits. Okay, their borrowing habits. Maybe they do need to be made aware of it. But just make sure that you're led to speak to that person like, hey, I know that you borrowed money from me, and I know you're asking other family members and this and that. You're burning your bridges. Let the borrower know, you're burning your bridges. And I've not told this person or that person, but if you want to be trusted, if you want to be trusted with more money, or trusted in the times where you really are in need, then maybe you need to hold back or stop crying wolf or whatever. And like I said, next week I'm gonna be talking to the borrowers. So they're going to be getting a lot of information as well. And maybe you've been in both situations. So don't disregard like that you've just been the person that's always lending, because you may be in a position where you have to borrow money. So again, so make sure you don't miss next week's episode either. Okay, I'm going to take a quick peek at the chat here. The Positive Pusher says, being clear and concise with expectations should be addressed prior to the person agreeing to accept the money. Yes. Get the commitment in writing if you have to. Yes, that's a great thing, because people do tend to get forgetful when it comes to money. Did I say that? Is that what I said? I don't remember that. And Lord knows I have experienced that as well. They have completely forgotten. They forget the amount. They forget the dates. They forget the agreements. They forget it all, or they forget that they even borrowed it. Sometimes they forget that they ever borrowed money. So yes, get it in writing if you have to, and have them sign it. That's a great tip and advice. All right, still here. Hey, thank you, Justin Mello. Hey, Vern's Junk Closet. How are you? Welcome in. My sister V Loves TNN been holding me down, so she's my only she's my only mod today, and she's been doing a great job. So thank you, V Loves TNN, and thank you, Burns John Claus. I appreciate you being here. I know you are here, there, and everywhere. So whenever you pop in, I appreciate you. All right. Yes, they definitely forget. Um, my new motto is I ain't gonna be able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it. Yeah, well, and sometimes you may have to get to that. But if you are at that place in your finances where you know you are not in a situation, especially during times like these, where everyone is trying to kind of hold on to their coins simply because we don't know what to expect over the next couple of months. You know, it's going to get worse. Flu season's coming. Um, this virus is taking over our world, and people are losing their jobs, and they're losing their income, or their income is being minimized, and people are looking for ways to hold on to their money, and they don't want to. Maybe they do have a little something stored up, but they're trying to hold on to what they have because we don't know what's coming. And that's just smart. That's just smart. It's not selfish, and it's not egotistical or anything like that. It's not being mean. It's being smart to hold on to your coins. If you know that you only have, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months worth of money in your account to keep a roof over your head or food on your table, or even 2 weeks. Some people only have 1 week or 2 weeks. Like, I could get through a week of not working and be able to pay my bills, or I can get through 2 weeks, or I can get through 6 months. Everyone, what you're able to do. And so from now to January, I can promise you things are going to get, sketchy, and with the economy. So it's just smart to, try to hold on to the little that you have. And everyone's trying to, get money from everywhere, even YouTube. So I'm seeing all kinds of things on YouTube for people trying to earn extra money and stuff like that. So, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's smart. If you're taking care of your money matters, taking care of your home, your business, is smart. It's the right thing to be doing. So we do have to be careful with lending. And the other thing that I try to do is offer other ways to help the person. Maybe you can't lend money, but maybe you can, cook them food, fix them dinner, buy them groceries, get them gas, or if you just feel uncomfortable with putting money in their hands. So a lot of times, if you don't feel comfortable putting money in their hands because you're not sure where it's going, and they're telling you, oh, I need I need to, eat, or I need to, pay this bill or whatever, go pay the bill for them. Maybe you do feel comfortable giving it, but you want to make sure that it's being used for what they say. Go pay the bill for them. Let them know the bill account number and put that money in there and make sure that bill is paid for them. So, or if you can't, maybe they need a place to stay overnight. Maybe you can buy them dinner for a week, or whatever it is. There's all kinds of things you can do to help people out without necessarily putting money in their hands. And especially if there's an addiction issue involved. So it's just a smart way. Have different things that you can do. Something that I do also, I always keep in my car typically, and I don't have any right now, but I used to always keep toothbrushes, toothpaste, like deodorant. And the reason I always had dental stuff is because I was a dental hygienist for 10 years. So I used to always keep these things in my car. So when people would come by, or when I would pull up to a stop sign, I would have a bag of chips. I used to keep bags of chips in my car. So I would hand them a bag of chips, or I would hand them a toothbrush and some toothpaste, or, something that I could give them without it necessarily being money. And I used to just keep that stuff in my car, in my back seat. And and people were always so grateful for it. Or maybe I had a banana that I didn't eat at lunch, or an apple, and I would hand them that. And they would be so grateful for those things. So we don't always have to feel like, in order to help someone, that it has to be through money. Okay. So that's something else that I do. And yes, hold on and just say sorry. Okay. I'm not sure what you meant by that one, Burns. I'm sorry. Let's see. Also, be aware that the borrower is in a stressful situation. Thus, the reason they're asking, and may agree to anything just to get the money. You're right about that. Give them a gift card to a grocery store or if they need food. Yes. Yes, a lot of times we would rather not put money in their hand. There are so many. Sometimes you can put gas in a person's car, different things such as that. There are a million things you can do to help people without there being an exchange of money. Okay. Um, the reason they're asking, they may agree. Yes. So people will, yeah, they will agree to anything. But again, if they agree to doing something and they don't, uh, do what they say they're going to do, then we don't ever have to feel obligated to lend to them again. So I always let the borrower know that these terms are for you and your ability to stick to them or not is going to be on you. Okay. And so if you come to me asking for something and I say no, you know exactly why. There's not going to be any guessing. And if I need to remind them, then I will and say, well, you remember when we set this up, show them the paper, show them the agreement, show them the contract, whatever it is. You remember when we set this up and this didn't happen? Then, and I let you know then that if you broke that agreement, that I would not be willing to put, us to have this, be in the situation again, and just remind them of that. So yeah, if they don't do what they agree to, that's on them. And we don't have to feel bitter about it because again, we didn't give more than we were able or willing to lose. Okay. We spend money all the time. We waste money all the time, doing all kinds of stuff. So maybe we do, always have some level of money that we would be willing to lose to invest in a person or help somebody out. But again, don't give what you know will make you bitter. Let's see. She's Elastic View says, I had an idea to also give out motivational or financial growth books the other day. Oh, that is great. Yeah, a lot of times people are in a position, and we are going to talk about that next week with the borrowers. A lot of times people end up in borrowing positions, not always just because they've lost their jobs, they've fallen on hard times, they're dealing with an addiction. Sometimes they are really bad at knowing how to handle money. And sometimes as a lender, you can say, I'm going to lend you, you can tell them, I'm going to lend you this money, but talk to me about how it is you got in this position. Because here's my thing. If you don't want me in your financial business, then don't include me in it. Okay. If you don't want me to know what the situation is, if you want to keep it personal and this, that, and the other, then don't come to me, asking for it, because I'm going to ask questions. And I'm going to ask questions because it's my money that you're asking for. So if you don't want me to ask questions, then don't ask me for my money. And that's just what it is for me, because you might find that you actually can help them. Sit down with them and say, hey, how did you get in this position? Why are you struggling with this? Where can I help you so that you don't get back into this situation again? So, and people don't always grow up with good role models of how to handle money. They feel like if they got money in their pockets, it's burning up their pockets, and they got to spend it. They don't know how to hold on to money. They're afraid to hold on to money. I know people, they get too much money in their account, they get nervous. They're like, oh my gosh, like I got too much money in my account. I need to go do this. I need to go spend something. I need to go, they literally just don't know how to handle and manage money. And as a lender, if you can help them to not put themselves in that borrowing position again, that is a phenomenal way to help, to be able to help them. It goes back to that scripture. You can feed a fish, feed a man for a day, or you can teach him to fish, right? So we can fish and give them a meal, or we can teach them how to fish and they'll eat for a lifetime. So yes, whatever you can do to help them not be in that position again, then yes, do that. Like I say, you all are coming up with phenomenal ways that you can be of service and help as a lender without it always having to be money. Okay. Without it always having to be a financial situation. Oh, I am the baby of the family and I am always being asked to lend money. So sad, huh? Yes, I do understand that. Yeah, I do understand that. I know people who are the youngest, maybe, or maybe they're the most successful in their family. And sometimes it can even be a cultural thing. Like, I know a lot of cultures have it really set up to where the younger take care of the older. So not only do they have to take care of their parents, they have to take care of their older siblings, and it is a cultural requirement, and that can be a huge thing. That can be stressful on um, a relationship. That can be a huge thing, and that's something else that we'll talk about. Hello, Blacklight Records, welcome in. Oh, it's okay that you're late. I'm happy you're here. I appreciate you being here. Yes, it was a pleasure meeting you. I love your music and all that. I can't wait to see more of your stuff. All right, you are a beautiful spirit, really. And tell me where you are too, because it looks, are you on an island somewhere? I know you have an accent, but tell me where you are. I was just curious, what island you're on or what island you're from. All right. So yes, that those are great things to do to yeah, if you're the baby, yes, yeah, getting back to that, if you're the baby of the family and you're always asked to lend money, yeah, that can be that is where, again, Verns, you have to let people know what you're able to do and not feel obligated to do, if it's not a cultural issue, because sometimes, like I say, it's a cultural thing where the younger are expected to take care of the older, and that's just kind of what it is. So if it's not a situation like that, then you want to make sure that even though whoever's coming to you, however often they come to you, you can say, look, here's what I'm able to do that I can be comfortable with, or this is what I'm not able to do that, and maybe they may need to know why I'm not able to do it, because of this reason, or that reason. Okay. So you're going to have to communicate with people and communicate with those family members and let them know. She said, I get ganged up on where two family members will call and make me feel guilty. Yeah. And we talked about that with the obligation. So one of the things you want to do and say, I understand that you all are in a financial stress or strain, but I also have bills, I have a family, I have a spouse, I have, financial responsibilities, or I'm just trying to, cover myself for the next couple months, say during this quarantine time, because we don't know what's going to happen, or maybe my job is in limbo, or whatever the situation is. Yeah, people can make you feel guilty. I've had family members come to me and try to make me feel guilty about not giving money. And sometimes, if it is a situation where maybe they got sick and fell on hard times, but if it's a situation where I know they're in that position because of some bad decision making, I'm not afraid to let them know, hey, I understand that you're struggling, but I didn't put you in that position. I didn't, make those decisions. And this is a result of some bad decisions. And maybe I'm willing to help you on this level, but I cannot help you on the level that you're asking for. Okay. So you really have to get clear and get firm in your boundaries about what you can do and what you can't do, and what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And they'll just have to understand it. Now, they may get mad. They may not talk to you for, an extended period of time. And that's okay. That's okay. We have to get okay with that. We have to get okay with not being everybody's best friend or their favorite family member. We have to get okay with that sometimes, because we have to do what's in the best interest of our immediate family. First comes God, then comes your spouse if you're married, then comes your children, and all that other stuff. So you have to have your priorities set, and you have to honor that, because what I have learned, when people know what to expect from you, they quit asking for stuff that they know you're not going to do. They quit. So one of the main reasons people will keep coming to you is because you continuously give in to the begging, or you continuously give in to the guilt that they're putting on you. So, but once you get to a place where you set up firm boundaries and you say, this is what it is, and you keep it that every single time, then people will quit coming to you with these types of, begging, pleading, making you feeling guilty type of situations. So if that's the case, Verns, get clear, get firm, and be strong. Be strong in what you know you can do. Thank you, Black Eye Records, for sharing me out. I appreciate that so very much. I can't wait to get my 1,000 subscribers, just so I can share out. So I have some videos right now, believe it or not, I have some videos right now that I have sent to myself that I'm going to share out when I get my 1,000 subscribers, whenever that happens, because these are such powerful videos that people are doing. I love YouTube for all the information that comes out on YouTube, and all these amazing people who I meet on here every day. That just put out really great stuff, and they may have like 5 or 6 views or 20 or 30 views, and I'm just thinking, man, the whole world needs to hear this message, So thank you. I appreciate you for sharing me out. That means that I'm hopefully putting out something worth people receiving. So. And that's what I'm here for. That is my sole purpose. And I just want to thank everyone who's in here. I see a lot of new faces tonight, and this is only my 3rd live stream. So please don't feel like you've missed a whole lot because you haven't. So I appreciate all of you all for coming in and, listening to what I have to say and listening as I share my gifts. Let's see. So did any of you, thank you, Justin. Let's see. You agree. Thank you, Black Eye Records. Always happy to be here. Job well done. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you. All right. So did anyone come up with some parameters or something that they're going to do tonight to make change when it comes to their lending? Is there anyone who wants to share just tell me one tip or something one takeaway that you're going to implement with your money lending habits? Just one thing that you're going to do. So just put it in the chat. Tell me something that you will implement into your life when it comes to money lending. I'm going to drink a little water too, because I feel my throat getting dry. Are you going to stop feeling obligated? Are you going to set up some boundaries around your life? Have you figured out a parameter that you're going to set up? And are you just going to quit telling all your business? Are you going to learn to start keeping things private when it comes to lending money to people? Setting boundaries. Okay, so V loves Tina and says she's going to begin to set some boundaries. So yeah, think about where you can set up some boundaries. Look at your finances and say, hey, if anyone ever comes to me, this is how much money I'm going to be willing to lend out and no further. And once that's gone, you can just say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have it. I've helped someone else and I'm tapped out of my resources. So I don't have anything else to help you. And I apologize for that, but there's nothing that I can do. Yes, I can only lend money that I can afford to lose. Yes, that's exactly how I want you to think about it. If you need it, don't give it, period. That's it. Okay. Yes, just think of it like when you're going to Vegas or, for those who gamble or for those who, do different types of things where they know they're going to lose money and they don't worry about it. Like a lot of people, they'll go gambling or they'll go, go to even just to a event or something and where they're going to be spending a lot of money on sort of wasteful type things, like say a carnival or something, and you don't worry about it because you're like, okay, well, I took this amount of money, I'm not worried about losing it. That's exactly how I want you to think about your lending habits when it comes to lending money to others. Okay, anyone else? We are coming up on our hour. I just want to thank everyone again for being here. I appreciate every single one of you all. And I am praying for every single one of you all. Okay, last of you says, say no sometimes. So I also don't encourage some borrowing bad habits. Yes, learn to say no. Get comfortable with your no. Get comfortable with your no. Okay. Don't be like, no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Get comfortable with get firm with your no. Get in the mirror, get in front of a mirror and practice saying no. Okay. Write it down. Whatever you need to do, get practice saying no. Even if you know you need to go to a person, and practice what you're going to say to them before you actually say it, and say it in a way that you feel confident. Okay. Get firm with your no, get comfortable with your no, and get okay with not everybody being happy with you. Okay. If you make somebody mad or somebody gets upset with you because you didn't do what they wanted you to do, it is okay. It is okay. You're going to be okay. Because if you're a good person, they're going to come back to you anyway. They're going to come back to you anyway. So, but now if you just a mean or, hateful person, can I borrow $1 million? Ooh, when I get that million, I'll see what I'll be willing to break you off a little bit, Burns. I promise you that. Did I see your question above, the positive pusher? Oh, let's see. Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. What would you do if you lend money to someone who has not paid you back and then see that they are out living it up on social media or eating out on a trip? Oh my goodness. Would you confront them? That is a good one. I have this quick story I'm going to share with you real quick, and then I'm going to pray and I'll answer your question. I had a lady, a girl, I was driving down the street and a girl had come up to my car, and I'm always leery about that, but she had kind of caught me in a position where I was in a storefront parking lot, and she came up to me and I thought she was going to ask me a question about like where something was. She didn't give me any sort of vibes that she was wanting anything else. And she asked me for some money, and she said because she was hungry. And she asked me for some money because she needed to get her car. She was trying to get home, and she needed to get home. And it was something with a car issue, right? So she tells me this and says, so I'm thinking, okay, let me help this young girl get home. She was like in her early 20s. And so I said, let me help this girl get home. And so I gave her some money. And I tell you, if I did not turn my car around in the parking lot, I had gone to a store and come back. And when I came back, she was walking out of Wingstop with a bag full of wings. She wasn't even trying to get home. All she was doing was trying to get her some money for food. And if she needed that, she could have just said that, so I did. I pulled her. I was like, hey, I thought you needed a ride home. And she's like, oh, well, I was hungry and, I needed to get something to eat. I said, okay, well, just make sure that, you be honest with people. I said, if you had been honest with me, I would have done what you needed. I probably still would have, given you money to get you something to eat. But yeah, so I definitely understand that. But would I tell the person if you see them out? I probably would, if the situation was right. Like I wouldn't walk up to them like in a public place in front of a bunch of people. But if I was able to get with them one-on-one in some sort of way, send them a text or do this, I probably would say something to them. But then again, I may not. It really kind of depends on the situation. I wouldn't, because number one, again, I'm not lending it out if I need it back. And if they didn't pay it back, then that just means I'm never going to lend it to them again. And more than likely, when they came to me again asking for something, I would just remind them then that no, I'm not going to be able to lend you any money, because the last time we had a situation like this, I did this. And rather than you paying me back, I saw you here doing this and that, buying shoes, eating out, going on vacation. I've even seen that too. People, you help people out with money and they on vacation somewhere. So I've seen that too. But so to answer your question, positive pusher, I probably would wait for the right moment, because I'm sure that it would be a conversation that would be had, but it would have to be the right moment and the right time, because they will come back to you. They will come back to you. Okay. All right. So I hope that answers your question, positive pusher. I hope that helps you out a little bit there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and head out. I'm going to pray us out before we go. Yes, I did confront her. Yes. There are a lot of people scamming as panhandlers. They hop in their cars and go home. That is their hustle. Yes. Yes. And I actually live not too far from the Austin area. And whew, yes, it is like, you know, a very large network of homeless people. So there are a lot of people in the streets. And during these times of the quarantine, there's just a lot of it everywhere. There really is just a lot of it everywhere. So just be cautious and be led. Be cautious and be led. And don't give what you don't have. Okay. And don't feel guilty about it. All right. So let's go in prayer and let's go ahead and go in prayer. Okay, Father, I just want to thank you tonight for this group of talkers here, these people, your children, Father. These are your children, your people, created in the very image of you, coming, seeking your guidance tonight on what they can do to be a better manager of their money when it comes to lending. Father, you have been clear in what it is that we're supposed to do. We lend when people ask, expecting nothing in return. So, Father, help us to keep that in our minds, that we give when you call us to give and when we're led to give, and make sure that we expect nothing in return. Help us to be good stewards over our money so that we can continue to stay in a position that we are able to lend money when we can. And Father, but help us to be good stewards over it and to be diligent in our words and in our kindness, and making sure that our ego is not in the way and that we're not making anyone feel bad about having to borrow money. Father, touch each and every person tonight in this live stream and those who will be watching the replay. Help mend some relationships. Give people the courage to go back and say the things that they need to say with the people of whom they're at odds with right now. Give them the courage to go and handle and fix those situations, and touch every life that you have brought here tonight on this live stream. These things we ask in your son Jesus' name, and I just thank you for all that you've done and who you are and all that you plan on doing. These things we ask. Amen. All right. So I will see you all next Tuesday for Talk Tips. Again, the tip next week, we'll be talking to the borrowers. And then on Thursday will be the lesson. And then we will be back next Saturday night from 8:30 to 9:30 to talk to the borrowers, so we can get over these money matters that are keeping us from having the healthy relationships that we desire. Okay. All right. Y'all take care, everyone, and be the light. Be the light. Be the light. All right. Bye-bye.